In this video, I'm going to share 3 strategies that I've used in the last few weeks to cure my TikTok brain. I've recently come to realize that I can't concentrate on anything. And it got to a point where I couldn't watch a movie or couldn't sit down and work for a prolonged period of time without getting distracted by notifications, procrastination in general, just going on social media. And it led me to do some research as to why this is happening to me. And I'm sure it's happening to a lot of you, that you can't seem to focus and concentrate. And that's because TikTok brain, which is a shortening of our attention spans and our ability to focus and cope with boredom, has really diminished over the last few years. In fact, so much so that from the year 2000 to 2015, our attention spans have shrunk from 12 seconds to 8.25 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. And that was in 2015, so I'm sure it's less now in 2024. And I found it's really affected my ability to connect with people, to get my work done, to sit and enjoy reading books, watching movies, watching sports. So here are the things that I try that I've broadly categorized into 3 different categories, starting with train your brain. So this one's going to sound a little bit cheesy, but going on walks really does help with your focus and helping you regain some energy for when you get back to focusing on something. And the reason why walking is so helpful is because whilst you're walking, there are enough things around you to stimulate your mind that you don't need to focus on one single thing. So you could train yourself to go on long walks and not pull out your device, or even leave your device at home. And the need or the craving will actually be less likely to be there whilst you're out on a walk. You can also gamify how long you can spend without drawing out your phone whilst watching a movie. I've done this, I know it sounds sad, but spending like 20-30 minutes just watching a movie without being distracted is some going for me. So try it yourself and see how long you can go by sort of gamifying it and seeing between you and your partner who can not be distracted for the longest. When you are working, time boxing I find really helps. So techniques like the Pomodoro Technique, which I'll leave in the description down below if you want to know more about it, but effectively time boxing a task to 20 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break and then doing another 20 minutes and then taking another 5-minute break really helps with kind of like work and then reward system. So I'll do 20 minutes work, and then in that 5 minutes I can then distract myself with social media, whatever else it is I need to do. I also find listening to music, which is actually scientifically proven to boost your focus, has really helped me as well. So I listen to a lot of lo-fi in the background, and that really helps with just my ability to concentrate on a single task. So anything without vocals I find has really helped. Another thing that helps me is to go out of my comfort zone and sometimes pick up my laptop and go and work from like a coffee shop or something. So just be out of your ordinary home comforts, your distractions, and that feeling of inertia will disappear when you're away from the office, away from your usual place of work. I treat my phone like a landline phone. So I leave my phone in one place pretty much all day. And that way, if I need to go to it, I will, but I need to be a lot more intentional with actually physically going to my phone. And adding that friction to the process of pulling out my phone has really helped with limiting my screen time. So I suggest trying that one as well. Or at least when you're at your desk, put your phone out of sight. So put it in a corner somewhere where it's not in your peripheral vision. You're less likely to be tempted to grab it, given that it's out of sight, out of mind. And another thing that's really helped me is keeping my phone not at my bedside. So plugging it in elsewhere in my bedroom so that I don't wake up and the first thing I do is overstimulate my mind with notifications and what's going on. This one has been an absolute game changer for me. The second strategy is use tech for good. So far I've spoken about trying to avoid using your phone and avoid technology, and that will work to a certain extent. There's no getting away from technology, right? It's a big part of our lives. It's not going anywhere. So let's embrace it and let's use what it can do to help us be more productive and focus more on our work. I found deleting my social media apps has really helped. I can still access them using my web browser, but deleting them from being easily accessible on my phone has really helped, again, increase friction between my brain being bored and then wanting to go on these apps. And also, you'll be so surprised the number of people that don't pay any attention to what's on their home screen. If you just be more intentional with what's on your home screen, i.e. the apps that are most easily accessible to you, and just remove them from your home screen, that in itself, I promise you, will make a big difference to how often you start doom scrolling and mindlessly looking through apps just for the sake of it, without really even thinking about what you're doing. Turning off push notifications is also an obvious one that people don't do. And when you install a new app, people just allow notifications like, yeah, okay, fine, distract me. Go through your notification settings and turn off all non-essential notifications from all of your non-essential apps. Believe me, you have more non-essential apps than you do essential apps. And taking that one step further, in iOS, you can set up focus modes so that you're only distracted by certain notifications in certain times of the day. I'm sure there's an Android equivalent as well. And you can also set scheduled summary notifications, which I found really useful. So I get one scheduled notification 3 times a day that just tells me everything that I've missed. So that FOMO side of me gets satisfied without necessarily having to go and proactively look for stuff that I might have missed. And the third strategy I've been using is to get deeper in understanding my daily objectives. Sometimes I procrastinate because I simply don't know what I need to be doing for that day, or it's uncertain, it's not clear, my objectives aren't clear. So now I sit down with my to-do list of choice. I use things free on iOS, but you could use anything, you could use paper. I sit down every morning and I acknowledge what I want to get done, what I want to accomplish for that day. I make that my highlight for that day. And then I make sure that I have at least 1 or 2 tasks that I know will help me achieve that goal that can be done within an hour or less, so that I'm breaking my work down into small, achievable, bite-sized chunks that have clear, measurable objectives that I can then look to complete. So you know clearly what you need to do and the steps you need to take in order to achieve those things is a really, really nice intentional way to make sure that you won't be distracted the second uncertainty kicks in. Because it's uncertainty that often builds up friction in our minds, and then we look for a bit of escapism and we look to our phones. So make sure you have clearly set objectives for the day. What is the 1 or 2 things you want to achieve for that day? Make sure the tasks are like an hour or less to achieve, and at least then, if you start procrastinating after you've achieved those goals, you'll feel less shame, you won't feel as bad. At least you've achieved the main things that you set out to achieve, and actually a little bit of time on social media to maybe relieve some stress is okay. So those are my 3 key strategies. Train your brain, use tech for good, and get deeper with what you want to achieve for that day. We need to manage this TikTok brain that we're all developing, which is really, really reducing our ability to be productive and therefore be happy, which is effectively why we're here, right? We're here to be joyous, we're here to be happy, and we all have personal objectives and things that we want to achieve. So why let social media and technology be a barrier to those things? Let's embrace the technology, but let's also be intentional with how we use it so that we don't diminish our attention spans, and maybe we regain a few more seconds over the coming years, who knows. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, you found it useful, please do like and subscribe and share it with anyone that you feel may be browsing TikTok right now and needs to see this message. I'll see you on the next one.